Welcome the spicy lady. The rarest habits are not the ones people notice first. They are the ones people fail to copy even after watching them for years. What makes one woman unforgettable while another simply blends into the background of everyday life? It is not beauty, popularity, money, or even intelligence alone. More often, it is a collection of quiet habits that shape the way she thinks, responds, and makes decisions. These habits cannot be bought, borrowed, or copied overnight because they are built through years of experience, self-reflection, and consistent choices. Many people can imitate confidence for a few hours. They can copy the way someone speaks, dresses, or carries themselves. But when life becomes uncertain, pressure increases, or difficult decisions appear, imitation begins to fade. That is when genuine character reveals itself. I end this video. We are going beyond the usual advice and exploring the spicy lady Sigma habits that most women struggle to imitate. These are not tricks for getting attention or shortcuts for appearing different. They are deeply rooted ways of thinking that quietly shape stronger decisions, healthier relationships, emotional resilience, and lasting self-respect. As you listen, you may recognize some of these habits in yourself or in someone you know. You may also discover areas where a small shift in thinking could completely change the way you approach life. Make sure you stay until the very end because each habit builds on the last. Why the final point? You will see why these qualities are so uncommon, why they are so difficult to imitate, and why they often leave a lasting impact long after first impressions have faded. Before we get into today's video, take a second to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Your support helps YouTube recommend this content to more spicy lady Sigma who can benefit from it. With that said, let's dive in. Number 1, she doesn't opt out of the crowd for aesthetics. She naturally never entered it in the first place. One of the biggest misunderstandings about a spicy lady Sigma is that people think she is trying to be different. The truth is much simpler than that. She is not making a statement. She is not trying to prove a point. She is simply living in a way that feels honest to her. Many people spend years trying to fit into groups. They adjust their opinions, interests, and even personalities just to avoid feeling left out. They wear what everyone else is wearing, repeat the same ideas, and chase the same goals because that feels safe. They fear standing alone more than they fear losing themselves. A spicy lady Sigma thinks differently. She has never believed that belonging should come at the cost of becoming someone else. If she enjoys something that nobody around her understands, she enjoys it anyway, if everyone is rushing in one direction, but it makes no sense to her. She has no problem choosing another path. Not because she enjoys being different, but because pretending would cost her peace of mind. Imagine a group of friends who suddenly become obsessed with a new lifestyle simply because it is popular online. Everyone starts buying the same products, using the same phrases, and acting like they have always loved it. The spicy lady Sigma watches the excitement without feeling pressured to join. If it genuinely improves her life, she may adopt it. If it does not, she moves on without feeling that she is missing anything. That quiet independence is difficult to imitate because it cannot be performed. Many people act different only because they want to be noticed for being different. That is still allowing the crowd to control their choices. The spicy lady Sigma is different for another reason. Her decisions are not reactions to what other people are doing. They come from careful thought, personal values, and a clear understanding of who she is. That is why she rarely looks conflicted. Her life is not built around resisting the crowd. It is built around listening to her own judgment. There is a huge difference between refusing to follow people and simply never needing to follow them in the first place. That quiet certainty is what makes her habits almost impossible to copy. Number 3. She doesn't try to be mysterious. She simply has layers that don't open on demand because access requires relevance, not just curiosity. A spicy lady Sigma is often misunderstood because people mistake privacy for mystery. They assume she is hiding something or playing a game to make herself seem more interesting. In reality, she is doing neither. She is simply careful about who gets access to the different parts of her life. Her trust is something that grows over time, not something that should be handed out just because someone is curious. Many people reveal everything about themselves within a few conversations. They share their biggest dreams, deepest fears, personal struggles, and private stories with people they barely know. Later, They wonder why they feel misunderstood or why their words are used against them. The spicy lady Sigma has learned that not everyone who asks personal questions deserves personal answers. She understands that curiosity and genuine care are not the same thing. Someone may ask dozens of questions simply because they enjoy collecting information. Another person may ask very little, but consistently show kindness, loyalty, and respect. She pays attention to actions before she opens the deeper parts of herself. Think about meeting someone for the first time. They immediately begin asking about your family, your relationships, your income, and your future plans. Many people feel pressured to answer because they do not want to appear rude. Spicy lady Sigma feels no such pressure. She shares only what feels appropriate for that stage of the relationship. She believes every connection should earn its own level of trust. This is why people often say they never fully figured her out. That IT is not because she is trying to appear mysterious. It is because every layer of her personality has its own doorway, and not everyone receives the key. The people closest to her usually discover a completely different side of her than everyone else. They see her humor, her kindness, her fears, her dreams, and her deepest thoughts because they have invested the time to build a real connection. She also understands something that many people overlook. The more available you make every part of yourself to everyone, the less special your closest relationships become. Meaningful connections are built through trust, consistency, and shared experiences, not instant access. Her silence is never a performance. It is wisdom. She knows that people who genuinely belong in her life will never be offended by healthy boundaries. Instead, they will respect them. That is why her relationships are often fewer, but far deeper, stronger, and built to last. Number 4. She doesn't over-identify with femininity or masculinity debates. She uses traits as tools, not as identity cages. A spicy lady Sigma does not spend her life arguing about whether she should be more feminine or more masculine. She sees those conversations very differently from most people. Instead of treating certain qualities as rules she must follow, she treats them as tools she can use whenever the situation calls for them. Many people place themselves inside invisible boxes. They believe that because they are women, they must always behave a certain way. Others believe they must reject anything that does not fit the image they want the world to see. Over time, they stop asking what actually works and start asking what other people expect from them. A spicy lady Sigma refuses to live that way. She understands that kindness does not make someone weak. Confidence does not make someone cold. Being gentle does not mean lacking strength. Being decisive does not mean losing compassion. Life is simply too complex to be lived through labels. Imagine a woman leading an important project at work. She makes firm decisions when necessary because the team needs direction. Later that evening, she visits a close friend who is going through a difficult time. She listens with patience, offers comfort, and gives her full attention. She does not think, which version of myself should I be? She simply responds to what the moment requires. That flexibility is rare because many people become attached to an image instead of becoming committed to wisdom. They spend more energy protecting their identity than solving the problem in front of them. This is why a spicy lady Sigma often adapts so well to different situations. She is not pretending to be someone else. She simply understands that every challenge requires a different strength. Sometimes courage is speaking up. Sometimes courage is staying silent long enough to understand what is really happening. Sometimes strength means standing firm. Other times, strength means showing patience. She has learned that life rewards people who know when to change their approach without changing their values. Her principles remain steady, but her methods remain flexible. That is what makes this habit so difficult to imitate. That IT requires confidence that comes from knowing yourself deeply enough that you no longer need labels to tell you who you are. She is not trying to fit into a category. She is focused on becoming the most capable, thoughtful, and balanced version of herself, regardless of what anyone chooses to call it. Number 5. She doesn't overshare to build closeness. Her privacy isn't insecurity. It's structural discipline. A spicy lady Sigma understands something that many people only learn after being disappointed several times. Not every connection deserves unlimited access to your life. That is why she does not believe that sharing everything about herself is the fastest way to build closeness. She knows that real trust is built over time, not through instant exposure. Today, people are often encouraged to tell everyone everything. Personal struggles, family issues, future plans, and private dreams are shared with people who have barely earned a place in their lives. IT creates the illusion of closeness, but information is not the same as trust. You can know many facts about a person and still know very little about their character. A spicy lady Sigma understands this difference. She shares her life in stages, not because she is afraid, but because she respects the value of what she carries. She knows that once words leave your mouth, you can never take them back. Wisdom often begins with knowing what to keep private. Imagine meeting someone who immediately tells you every detail about their past, their finances, their relationships, and their personal struggles within the first hour. IT may feel open at first, but it can also leave you wondering why there are no healthy boundaries. Now, imagine another woman who enjoys the conversation, laughs, listens carefully, shares enough to build a connection, but leaves the deeper parts of her life for another day. Which person is more likely to build trust that lasts? Usually it is the second one, that she also knows that privacy protects more than secrets. IT protects peace. When too many people know your plans, opinions, or personal battles, they often begin adding their fears, doubts, and expectations to your life. Before long, your own voice becomes harder to hear. This does not mean she is distant or emotionally unavailable. The people closest to her often know her deeply because they have earned that privilege through consistency, honesty, and time. She believes trust should be built like a strong house, one solid layer at a time. That is why her privacy is not a wall. IT is a filter. IT helps her separate genuine relationships from temporary curiosity. She understands that protecting your inner world is not a sign of insecurity. IT is a sign of maturity. The strongest connections are rarely rushed. They are built patiently, carefully, and with mutual respect that grows stronger every step of the way. Number 6, she prefers accurate truth over socially comfortable truth. Even when it makes her unpopular in the momentous spicy lady, Sigma has a habit that many people admire from a distance, but struggle to practice themselves. She would rather face an uncomfortable truth than enjoy a comfortable lie. That does not mean she enjoys hurting people's feelings or creating conflict. That IT simply means she believes that truth has more value than temporary comfort. Many people say what others want to hear because it keeps the peace. They agree with opinions they do not believe, laugh at jokes they do not find funny, or stay silent when something is clearly wrong. In the moment, this seems easier. IT avoids awkward conversations and keeps everyone happy. But over time, small compromises become a habit, and eventually, people lose sight of what they truly think. A spicy lady Sigma understands that truth is not always pleasant, but it is almost always useful. She asks herself one simple question: is this true? Before she asks, will people like hearing it? That difference shapes the way she lives. Imagine a group of friends encouraging someone to make a decision that is obviously unwise. Everyone keeps saying, go for it. Everything will be fine. A spicy lady Sigma may be the only one willing to say, I think you should slow down and think this through. Her words may not be welcomed at first. Some people may even call her negative. Yet months later, when the excitement fades, people often realize she was trying to protect someone, not criticize them. She also applies this honesty to herself. She does not spend her life blaming everyone else when things go wrong. That if she made a poor decision, she admits it. If she lacks a certain skill, she works to improve it. She knows that growth begins the moment excuses end. This habit is rare because many people confuse honesty with popularity. They believe that being liked is proof they are doing the right thing. A spicy lady Sigma knows two things are not always connected. Sometimes speaking honestly will make people uncomfortable because truth has a way of exposing what comfort tries to hide. Of course, she also understands that truth without wisdom can become cruelty. She chooses her words carefully because her goal is not to embarrass people or prove she is right. Her goal is clarity. She believes the best conversations leave people thinking, not feeling attacked. In the end, she would rather lose approval for being genuine than gain admiration for pretending. She understands that opinions change with the moment, but truth has a way of standing firm long after emotions have settled. That is why people may resist her honesty today, yet quietly respect it tomorrow. Number 7, she builds identity from internal consistency, not external reinforcement. What she does privately matches what she would do publicly. A spicy Lady Sigma does not build her identity around applause, compliments, or other people's opinions. The person she is behind closed doors is the same person you will meet in public. She understands that character is not something you perform when people are watching, that IT is something you practice every single day, especially when nobody is paying attention. Many people have two versions of themselves. There is the public version that looks confident, kind, disciplined, and responsible. Then there is the private version that tells a completely different story. They speak about honesty, but cut corners when nobody notices. They talk about hard work, but only work hard when someone is keeping score. Over time, living two different lives becomes exhausting. A spicy Lady Sigma refuses to carry that burden. She believes the strongest foundation a person can have is consistency, that if she says she values kindness, she treats the waiter with the same respect she gives an important guest. That if she believes in discipline, she keeps her promises to herself even when there is no reward waiting at the end. Her values are not costumes she wears for different audiences. They are part of who she is. Think about someone who constantly posts about fitness and healthy living, but secretly gives up every goal the moment the camera is turned off. Compare that to someone who rarely talks about exercise, but quietly follows the same routine every morning because it matters to them. Which person is more likely to succeed in the long run? Usually, it is the one whose actions do not depend on being seen. This is why a spicy Lady Sigma rarely feels the need to convince people that she is honest, loyal, or disciplined. She understands that genuine qualities reveal themselves through repeated actions, not repeated claims. She lets time speak louder than words. She also knows that your private habits eventually become your public reputation. The patience you practice at home shapes how you handle pressure at work. The promises you keep to yourself strengthen your confidence when life becomes difficult. Every unseen decision quietly builds the person the world eventually meets. This habit is difficult to imitate because it requires integrity, and integrity cannot be switched on only when it is convenient. IT asks you to stay true to your principles, whether anyone is watching or not. That is the quiet strength of a spicy Lady Sigma. Her identity is not built on appearances, it is built on alignment. Her words, choices, and actions point in the same direction. That kind of consistency is rare, and once people notice it, it earns something far more valuable than attention. IT earns lasting trust. Number 8. She doesn't romanticize suffering, but she also doesn't panic when life becomes uncomfortable. Instability is treated as information, not identity. A spicy Lady Sigma has a healthy relationship with hardship. She does not chase pain as though struggling makes her wiser, stronger, or more important than everyone else. At the same time, she does not fall apart the moment life becomes uncomfortable. She understands that difficult seasons are not rewards, punishments, or permanent labels. They are messages. They reveal what needs attention, what needs to change, and what needs to grow. Many people react to hardship in one of two extremes. Some wear their suffering like a badge of honor. Every conversation becomes a reminder of how much they have endured. Their struggles slowly become their entire identity. Others do the opposite. They panic the moment life stops feeling easy. Any setback feels like proof that life is unfair or that they are failing. A spicy Lady Sigma chooses neither path. She refuses to glorify suffering, but she also refuses to fear it. Imagine someone who loses a job they have held for years. Many people immediately think, my life is falling apart. I am a failure. Those thoughts become heavier than the job loss itself. A spicy Lady Sigma allows herself to feel disappointed, but she also asks different questions. What is the situation teaching me? Is this an opportunity to learn a new skill? Have I outgrown this chapter? Instead of allowing the event to define her, she uses it to guide her next step. The same happens in relationships. If someone walks away from her life, she does not automatically believe she is unworthy of love. She reflects on the experience, learns what she can, and continues moving forward. She understands that not every ending is a personal failure. Sometimes it is simply life creating space for something that fits better. This mindset gives her emotional stability because she does not confuse temporary circumstances with permanent identity. A bad week does not make her a bad person. A mistake does not make her incapable. A setback does not erase years of growth. She knows that life constantly sends signals. Discomfort can reveal unhealthy habits. Failure can expose weak preparation. Loneliness can uncover the importance of meaningful relationships. Every challenge carries information if you are willing to listen. That is why this habit is so difficult to imitate. Most people either resist discomfort or become consumed by it. A spicy Lady Sigma does neither. She faces it with clear eyes, learns from it, and keeps moving. She understands one powerful truth. Your circumstances may change many times throughout life, but they do not have the final word on who you become. Only your response does. Number 9. She rarely competes with women or men directly, not out of superiority, but because competition assumes shared goals she never agreed to. A spicy Lady Sigma has a habit that often confuses people. She rarely feels the need to compete with other women or men. This is not because she believes she is above anyone that it is, because she realizes that competition only makes sense when two people are chasing the same destination. More often than not, she is walking a path that is uniquely her own. Many people spend years measuring their lives against someone else's. They compare careers, relationships, income, appearance, and even happiness. Social media has made this even worse. One person's success suddenly feels like another person's failure. Before long, people stop asking, what do I truly want? And start asking, how do I compare? A spicy Lady Sigma refuses to live that way. She understands that comparison can quietly steal contentment. She knows that two people can be equally successful while living completely different lives. Imagine two women who graduated from the same university. One dreams of building a successful business. The other wants a quiet life with meaningful work and more time for family. That if the second woman constantly compares herself to the first, she may feel like she is falling behind. But behind according to whose definition? They were never chasing the same future. That is how a spicy Lady Sigma thinks. She spends less time watching other people's progress and more time asking whether she is moving closer to the life that actually fits her values. This does not mean she lacks ambition. In fact, she often sets incredibly high standards for herself. The difference is that her competition is internal. She compares today's version of herself with the person she was yesterday. She celebrates improvement instead of chasing superiority. Because of this mindset, she is genuinely able to admire other people's achievements without feeling threatened. Someone else's promotion does not diminish her potential. Another woman's beauty does not reduce her worth. Another person's talent does not erase her own gifts. She understands that life is not a race with only one winner. This way of thinking gives her a quiet confidence that many people struggle to understand. She is free from the exhausting habit of turning every interaction into a scoreboard. She does not need to win every comparison because she never accepted most of those comparisons in the first place. That is what makes this habit so powerful. She knows that the greatest success is not proving that you are better than someone else. It is having the courage to build a life that reflects your own purpose instead of spending years chasing goals that were never truly yours. Number 10. She can disappear socially without feeling the need to explain or justify it. No emotional guilt, no performative apologies. No storytelling. A spicy Lady Sigma has a habit that many people find difficult to understand. She can step away from social activity for days, weeks, or even longer without feeling the need to announce it, explain it, or apologize for it. She is not trying to send a message. She is not testing who will notice her absence. She simply understands that not every season of life requires constant visibility. Many people feel uncomfortable the moment they become less available, that if they take a break from replying to messages, attending gatherings, or posting online, they immediately feel pressure to explain themselves. They worry that people will misunderstand them or think something is wrong. As a result, they spend more energy managing other people's expectations than taking care of their own well-being. A spicy Lady Sigma sees things differently. She knows that healthy relationships are not measured by constant contact. Real connections can survive silence because they are built on trust rather than nonstop communication. Imagine someone taking a weekend away to rest, read, think, or focus on an important goal. Before they can enjoy that time, they feel obligated to send long messages explaining why they have been quiet. They apologize repeatedly, even though they have done nothing wrong. A spicy Lady Sigma would simply take the time she needs. When she returns, she continues the conversation naturally because she understands that every moment does not require an explanation. This does not mean she ignores people or treats relationships carelessly. She values the people in her life, but she also values balance. She knows that constantly being available can leave little room for reflection, creativity, or personal growth. Sometimes the mind needs quiet just as much. As the body needs rest, she has also learned that people who genuinely care about you do not expect you to be constantly present. They understand that everyone has responsibilities, priorities, and moments when life requires more attention elsewhere. The people who demand constant access often want reassurance more than they want a healthy relationship. This habit gives her emotional freedom. She does not carry unnecessary guilt every time she chooses solitude. She does not invent dramatic stories to justify protecting her time. She trusts that her actions over the years speak louder than temporary absences. That is why this habit is so difficult to imitate that it requires being comfortable with the possibility that some people may misunderstand your silence. That a spicy lady Sigma accepts that risk because she knows an important truth. Your time and attention are valuable resources. You do not have to spend them every single day to prove that you care. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to step back, recharge, and return with a clearer mind and a stronger sense of purpose. Final words: the strongest habits are the ones that continue even when nobody is keeping score. That if there is one lesson to take away from this video, it is that being a spicy lady Sigma is not about looking different. It is about thinking differently, choosing carefully, and staying true to principles that do not change every time the world does. The habits we discussed are not special because they are impossible to understand. They are rare because they take patience, self-awareness, emotional discipline, and the courage to live by your own standards. Anyone can copy someone's style for a day. Very few people can copy years of quiet decisions that shape a person's character. The truth is, these habits are not meant to make anyone feel superior. They are reminders that a meaningful life is built from the choices nobody applauds, the conversations you walk away from, the boundaries you protect, the opinions you question, the promises you keep to yourself, and the values you refuse to trade. For temporary comfort, all become part of the person you are becoming. Perhaps the most powerful habit of all is remembering that you do not have to become someone else to live a remarkable life. You simply have to become more consistent with the best version of yourself. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments which habits stood out to you the most and why. Your perspective may encourage someone else who is on the same journey. If you found value in this video, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who would appreciate this message. Until next time, keep growing, keep thinking for yourself, and never stop becoming the person you can genuinely respect when you are alone. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.